I'm Dr. C. Welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about how to be a hot doctor or date one. 5 tips that you have to know. Also, how to get over a breakup if you are going through medical training, which we've all been there. So be sure to check it out. And I'll welcome my guest, Maxine Velasquez. So I'm so excited to get started because today we're going to be talking about, is dating a hot doctor and being a hot doctor everything it's cracked up to be? And I know everyone can relate. We've all seen Grey's Anatomy and we wondered what it's like to date McSteamy or McDreamy. Oh, when I was watching it in undergrad, I wanted to be those doctors on there. So, you fall on either end of the spectrum. So I'll give you a little bit of updates about me.
Okay, can't wait to hear.
I am recently single, and this is a positive thing for me, I think, because it was basically I was with someone for a while and we wanted the same things for a while and now we don't. I really want kids and I want to be married. I'm definitely more traditional than I thought I was. I think I was always like in my 20s being like, I don't need to be married. I want a non-traditional family and all of that. And I think like once I felt like my eggs were actually not going to be as viable anymore, I really was like, okay, I definitely want the kid. And my ex is like, I definitely don't. I'm definitely just living my life day to day, no plan. So yeah, that's where I'm at. And recently went on a big trip to Paris, London, at Barcelona, and I enjoyed being single just because it was like I could just put myself first. I didn't have to worry about anybody. So that part in my late 30s is, I will have to say this is like the most fun I've had being single again, just because I feel so content with like my life right now.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear kind of where you're at as well. So I want to welcome Maxine.
Thank
She's
you.
one of my good friends, and we went to UCLA together. She's a family medicine doctor. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Maxine?
Okay, well, thanks for having me, Dr. C, and happy to hear that you're doing well.
Thanks.
So I'm Maxine. I am a family medicine doctor, just like Dr. C. We've actually had similar training along the way without even necessarily knowing each other and being connected. But I grew up in Southern California, and I went to UC Berkeley for undergrad, and
Smarty pants.
was kind of lost when I was there. But I did a like student organization where we taught a class on diabetes, and that's really like what initially sparked my interest in medicine. And after that, I did a few internships, got the courage to say, you know what, I think I could do this. And so I did a post-bac, which I don't know if you did a post-bac, but
I did not,
Okay.
but a lot of my friends did.
yeah, so
Yeah.
non-traditional student. So I did a post-bac. It was a career enhancement post-bac, not a career changer. Made some amazing friends that were really crucial in just getting me into med school because, you know, it's such a journey. It's such a doubtful process.
Yeah, you need people in the process going through it with you and ones who can give you like really good advice.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Ended up at UCLA in the Prime program, same as you.
You basically copied me.
I know, basically. I followed your footsteps without knowing. And had like, medical school for me was a wonderful time. Made some amazing friends. Did a master's in public health. And then ended up matching into UCSF family medicine.
Woo-woo.
Woo woo. It was a choice, really. I thought that this was a place that was going to push me to the next level, and I was going to be with people who I would aspire to be like, and it was 100% that. It was definitely away from my home base in LA, family and friends. I'd lived in the Bay before, but residency is a totally different beast. And so I don't regret going up there at all because I got amazing training and loved the people that I did residency with. But coming back home 2 years ago was the best thing for me. And so now I'm working in urgent care and really kind of leaning into all of the other aspects of my life outside of medicine. I have a really big family. I have a lot of friends in LA from all of the different academic programs.
That you collected on the way.
Yes,
And
exactly.
stayed in touch with. That part is really awesome about medical training is
It
you've been in
is.
school forever, but you make really good friends.
Yeah, and all of the little aspects, especially if you're a community builder, which both of us are.
AKA partiers. No, just kidding.
That's true.
We like to have fun. We like to have fun, and
Yeah.
our study groups lead to like social groups and stuff like that, which is I recommend doing.
Yes. So yeah, I'm here in LA and also went through a breakup after residency, and so yeah, I would love to chat more about that.
You went through a breakup after residency, so as you were becoming an attending, it was like all these different changes.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I was in a long-term relationship as well. And
But yours was like long.
it was very long. Yeah.
Like,
it was an off and on long relationship.
It was basically a marriage. Like,
yes, but
can you
not.
give us a little background on your dating life during medical training?
Yeah, so I was in a relationship that was like off and on. So I didn't really date in medical school or in residency. It was really kind of like going in and out of this relationship, which I would not recommend to anybody.
0 out of 5 would not recommend.
If you're breaking up multiple times, it's time to leave that situation.
I know.
But we always leave when we're ready. And so, yeah, during residency was when we ended things, but we didn't stop talking, which often we do. Now, having done the work and read some books and listened to some podcasts, in particular, Don't Text Your Ex Happy Birthday by Nick Viall, which is like such a quick, easy read, but I think that's so true. Don't text your ex happy birthday.
Just move on.
Don't mail them a card.
Just energetically, just like focus on yourself.
Leave. Yeah.
I totally agree.
So I would say it wasn't until moving back home after residency that I really did the work to move on from that relationship.
Okay.
And started dating a few months later, mostly on the apps, which has been an adventure.
Can I ask, when did you start dating your ex? Like, were you in med school?
I was at the end of undergrad, so I was like 22. So all of my prime years.
No, you have your prime years right now.
That's true. Actually, you're right. We are in our prime right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is crazy that you were with one person off and on through your whole medical training.
Yeah.
Do you feel that he helped you in a lot of ways, like to weather the storms of medical training, or do you feel like you would have been better off like without him completely?
Yeah, I think it's so hard to say. You know, I think you and I both try to live like without regrets. And so I can't say that I regret being in a relationship during those time periods, but I know once I was fully out of it, I thought back and really actually was amazed at how strong I was dealing with such a difficult relationship and the difficulties of medical school. So I think in just reflecting on that, I probably could have done a bit more and been happier. But you know, you trauma bond, you develop some codependence, some attachment issues, and so you feel like I can't make decisions without this person. This person is like really there for me. They've been there for me for all of these things. And so I think, you know, every relationship is different, but I think in hindsight, there was a lot more negativity than there should have been.
I think that part is really, like, I feel like I've grown in a lot of ways because now I used to be like, oh, but he did this for me. Therefore, and I would project this whole almost like fantasy of how much he was there for me and how much he did. And I feel like he has done those things, but it's like at a certain point, what you want is actually for someone to show up in an even better way, and like in a way that you're not as stressed out when you're going through all of these things. Like, I feel like as women in medicine, like the support that we need from a partner is like extra strength.
Yeah.
And I think like I didn't quite understand that. It's like, no, you don't, you can't just like, I think also as like a type A overachiever, it's like, it's okay, I'll do it, I'll pick up the slack, I'll order the groceries, I'll cook the food, I'll do this, it's fine. And then you're just like, oh my God, like I'm so tired. I need someone to pull like more weight.
And sometimes you just need a little bit of grace too, because, you know, not that other jobs aren't difficult, they are, but I think just what's expected of you in training really is like all of your effort and time. And you're not left with a lot to give a relationship. And so what are you taking from? So you're taking from all the other relationships in your life and your relationship with yourself oftentimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think in retrospect, I think, you know, things could have been different, but everything is a learning process, and I wouldn't be where I am now if it weren't for that. So for that, I'm grateful.
Yes. We need all of those like experiences to know what we want. And you were so young, you're still learning. Like, I think that's the thing that people think, like, it was so weird to be a resident and be giving people relationship advice like in the room sometimes, and I would be like, my own life was just in shambles, or I was just still learning the lessons, you know. And you figure you're a doctor and you're in your 20s and you're still like figuring all these things out. So yes, giving ourselves grace is super important. And then tell us a little bit about your dating life now, like some fun stories about the apps. Like, what's been your most insane dating app story?
Well, I think just in general, dating after not having dated really at all, because I was so young, you know, college dating doesn't really count. It was definitely a wild ride. Like, it is just a scary thing to put yourself out there. And now on this platform that we didn't grow up with, like college, there was no such thing as apps.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. I don't know. I might be like a pro now.
That's true. You could have mastered it a little bit.
We're adaptable,
earlier.
so we could adapt to anything.
I'm just glad there's no photographic evidence of anything.
A little bit of Facebook. A little bit of Facebook.
A little bit
evidence.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Which has been deleted since.
Yeah, agreed. Likewise. I really went into it. I think I did the work. I took time. So I went into it with the mindset of dating is about learning myself.
So the mindset, how you're like approaching it, you feel like you're being intentional about that.
Yes, it was less of I'm trying to find a husband, which of course I would like to be married, or not of course, but not everybody wants to, but that is something I would like. But I felt like approaching it with the mindset of I need to find a husband.
A lot of pressure.
It was a lot of pressure on me and not on whoever that person is out there. And then also kind of like a scarcity mindset. So if somebody isn't going to be your husband when you go on a date, like, is that a waste? No, I really was like, I can learn from everything. And I was starting at zero. So like even somebody I was completely uninterested in, it was kind of interesting just to see like how you ask questions. And you know, a lot of times
how do I talk?
How do I talk? Like, how do we lean in for a kiss? Like, this is so weird.
It's like super ground zero.
It's super ground zero, yeah. And also to see people's reaction to when was your last relationship. And me, the first date, I think he asked, oh, so when was your last relationship? I was like, oh, it ended like a year ago. And it's like, oh, was it a long-term relationship? Yeah. How long?
Being very vague
like
about
a decade. And then mouth drop. And then the person got so insecure and asked all these questions about them.
Because they're probably like, oh, she's probably going to get back with him.
Yes.
Or like, I'm never going to measure up to this person.
Yes, which I reflected on later. But in the moment, the like, you know, panic and my ears got hot. And I'm like, how do I get out of this situation? How do I excuse myself? But you know, you just like sit in the discomfort and let it pass, and then you're ready for the next time. And nobody's actually ever reacted like that again. So
it was just that one person.
It was just that one person. Other people are like, oh, or they'll say, yeah, I've been in, you know, a really long-term relationship, and this is what happened. So yeah, you get used to it.
Yeah, you get used to the reactions. Probably. I guess it would reveal people's insecurities.
It absolutely, this person definitely had a lot of, I think kind of fetishized dating career women, like women in medicine.
She's gonna pay for everything.
I don't know. It was like, I really like a smart, strong woman, which
like I don't want to be strong. I want to live a soft life.
Yeah, it was like you're barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we are ambitious, and as much as I like don't identify with being ambitious, like clearly I am. But yeah, you just really learn about people's intentions, and then also why are they asking these questions, or what insecurities does it bring up? But it happens vice versa, right? So I'm also learning about my own insecurities when people, you know, say something that I'm kind of turned off by. So yeah, it's been a great learning process. I think I went on like maybe like 10 dates in the first year, which for me was like a huge thing. Like first dates.
From going from nothing.
Zero, and I was pretty afraid of like going on a date with somebody who was like a catfish or like a psycho.
Understandably so, with like
thinking about safety. So I like developed my own vetting process, and like, you know, talking on the phone before a date, or, you know, just like if you get those gut instincts that like something feels off, or you're
the ick,
not even the ick, like The ick, I feel like, you know, everyone has icks and they're not necessarily important or they say anything about a person. But
Like
just,
Cheesecake Factory, ick.
yeah, just like, oh, someone's a little critical, like in the first conversation. And it's like, oh, I think this might come up again. And then you realize they're a little controlling, or there's just so many little yellow flags that you'll see. And then also, if I feel like somebody is being dishonest, that's like an immediate no for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, no love lost there.
That's so true. Well, I want to get into our 5 rules because I think that we're touching on a lot of them.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about the 5 rules of being or dating a hot doctor.
Okay, you tell me.
So I'm going to give you my list. Sorry, I am looking at my phone because I want to get them right. I put a lot of thought into it.
I mean, this is a really important question.
It is, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my God, he's a doctor. Like, I really want to date him. And I'm like, do you though?
Yeah.
I mean, the people that we went to school with, amazing people.
Yeah.
But also a lot of them would, you know, I see them now as attendings and I'm just like, oh my God, this was the guy that like acted a fool in anatomy class. And like, I can't believe he's so like, he gets tons of girls now. And he's like, I would never name names, but I just want people to see that it's like, there are some things that differentiate them from like non-doctor people, but there are some things that are just like, it's just like any other dating.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So number 1, I would say don't lead with I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Because I think that you might get people that are like attaching to the status prematurely and not really getting to know you. Or if you are in the market and you're dating and you meet a man or a woman who's like, one of the first things they say is like, I'm a doctor, I would just say proceed with caution. Because I too was in that phase of my life. I think I was in med school, I was like, I'm a doctor, I'm studying to be a doctor. And everything was like around that. And I was kind of an asshole. Like, I was kind of just like, oh, you need to cater to me. Like, everything is about school.
Oh, really? Like, yeah.
Which at that time it really was, like everything is kind of around a central goal. People
in medical training are extremely self-absorbed, and everyone's telling you, your family's like, you know, especially if you're first in your family. You know, I feel really lucky that being first in my family didn't come with like, we don't understand. It was just so much pride and like deference, like, oh, you know, you're busy, you're studying. And so it's very easy to get into a mindset where it's like, my needs are the most important. And in a relationship, that's never a vibe.
That's so true.
Yeah.
I think the status of being a doctor should be like lower on the list after you get to know like someone's personality traits, their character, all these other things that are more important to how happy you'll be.
Do you put on dating apps that you're a physician?
I'm not on any dating apps, but if I went back on, I don't think I would.
Interesting. So I have it on there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to be a surprise. Like if somebody like is intentionally not trying to date somebody with a career or is maybe, I don't know, like turned off by that, I don't want to like surprise somebody with it.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they at least read, then they'll have an idea.
Like on this season of Love is Blind, when they were like, I have a kid and then I'm divorced, which is like not a big deal, but I can see if you wait for a while to talk about big things, then you're kind of just like, WTF.
Yeah, I mean, the kid one especially.
The kid one especially.
Yeah.
Yeah, because people have like hard boundaries about like dating people with kids or not. Yeah. Let's see. What else did I put? Yes. Okay, so number 2, and I think this is important for anyone who's dating, is like, know what type of plant you are. Are you like a cactus who doesn't need a ton of watering? Like, just splash me with some water once a week, like hang out once a week, and the rest of the time I'm fine, I'm independent. Are you like a water lily that needs to be watered every day? Like, you need more attention. If you're more like you need more attention, you probably don't want to date like a trauma surgeon. You don't want to date like someone who's probably in residency. But if you love your independence and you're like, I really want an ambitious person who has their own thing, we just come together once a week, you know, support each other's lives, add to it. But you don't want to be like grocery shopping together. You don't need to be like doing your errands together. I think that's an important distinction to know, like how much watering you need.
And like for someone getting back into dating, figuring it out, like as you're dating.
Yes. What type of plant are you?
I don't know. I mean, I think I want to be like a high maintenance plant, but I'm probably a cactus.
Really? I think I'm a cactus, but I'm definitely like the most high maintenance plant. Like,
I mean, yeah. But I also feel like we evolve and change, right?
yes.
Like depending, I think I'm in a place right now in my life where I'm like, I don't really need much. Like I'm pretty happy. I feel good. But of course, like, when you go through a trauma in your life or family illness, then that's kind of, I think, when you see. I think if you're an adaptable plant, you can change with the seasons.
Yes, like if you're a desert plant
Yes.
or like
I love that
makes
that
sense.
tip. That's like a great one.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, and good to know what type of plant you are at a certain season of your life, or like, and it's okay to maybe like ask for more. I think I see this more when like people go through loss and they
Yeah.
really need more, care, or they need to talk a little bit more, things like that. I think it's so
Absolutely.
important to be aware of that. And then let's see. Okay, number 3, discernment. Which you kind of touched on before, but discernment in terms of like, I think a lot of times we go to dates and be like, I want them to like me.
Oh, yeah.
But really, what we're doing, what we want to do with everything in our lives is observe and put the pieces together slowly over time. Like, is he or she on time? Do they remember details about me?
Do they ask a question
Do they
about
ask
me?
questions about me? And being a keen observer so we don't like project our fantasies of what someone is.
Absolutely. I think the question of do I like them should be front of mind, not do they
Radical.
like me.
So radical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as like people pleasers or being in a profession, especially like medicine, where you're getting graded all the time and evaluated, it's reminding like this is to figure out if I like them. And if they don't like me after a first date or I don't like them, it doesn't reflect on the person. It's just preference. So keep it moving.
Girl, that's been a huge shift for me because as like someone who's always, I feel like I'm always like performing for something, like a test, whatever. Like that's a huge shift, I think, for women to get into, just like pulling back,
Yes.
doing less, which is hard for
us.
types like us. Yeah. And yeah, I think it's discernment is also super key because I've dated someone who literally said to me, I've always wanted to date a doctor, and now I feel like I can pull someone of that status.
Oh, barf,
right? And
barf.
I'm like, and he said that like much later into the game. I don't know if he was just trying to say that because we were talking about like breaking up. I don't know if he was trying to say that to like hurt me, but I think there are people that just kind of like attach to the idea of being with you, and so I think being very discerning, like, what do I like about this person, and what does this person like about me?
And career is like not even at the top of some people's dating preferences.
Yeah.
So like giving it more value than it's worth.
Yeah.
Seems not good.
Agreed. So the number 4 is being in your feminine. So, and we sort of talked about this before, but it's like, as career women, I think sometimes we can girl boss too hard, and we end up like doing all the planning. We do all of the like emotional labor, and pulling back and sort of seeing like, does this person plan dates?
Yeah.
Does this person plan or like, can they cook for themselves? How do they run their own lives?
Yeah, I think it's about knowing yourself and then balancing, because like if you want a partner who's more passive, then you take that active role, and I think that's certainly okay. But if you're looking for somebody to take care of you, then you have to give them space to do so.
That's true. I would say most of my married female doctor friends are annoyed with how much labor they do. So, yeah, I know some women don't mind doing like a majority of the quote unquote work.
Yeah.
But I feel like the women in my circle, at least, I feel like they're like, they do like the lion's share.
Yeah, I think women in general, we're always planning and thinking. I have some great like male examples in like other relationships from friends, and it seems like they've really hit like a sweet spot. But I think every relationship is different, and perhaps that was like what works for them.
Yeah,
but definitely not the norm. Yeah.
I have another friend who's a physician, and I feel like she dates men that it's like in the beginning everything's great, like, and over time they're just not motivated. Like, I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if they were just like pretending in the beginning, but their own motivation just goes down, and she's like paying most of the expenses. And
oh no,
have you seen this with your?
No,
I'm a little bit older than you, so I feel like I've seen the marriage, like the run of the marriage for some
most
of my friends.
The relationships in my friend groups are pretty like long standing, so I think when you grow up together it's different. But I think, like, to your last point of like taking charge, like, I mean, we have like our own dating preferences, but like, yeah, I'm not paying for anything on a first date. That's like a huge red flag to me. And I think, I think, you know, moving forward, then that's something you discuss and you balance out. But it should never feel like one partner is using the other.
Yeah, agreed. In either direction.
Like,
no one wants to feel that way.
Yeah, nobody wants to feel that way at all.
No one wants to feel that way. And then, let me see. My fifth tip is stay balanced. So I think survival mode just comes to mind in so many of the aspects of medical training, that I think when your body and like your nervous system is in survival mode, you just don't pick as well for your partner. And so I would say also, when you the topic of like being a hot doctor, I would say you need to stay balanced. I don't know how it was for you, but in medical school, and then like it got so much worse in residency, I wasn't really taking care of myself. And then as you transition to attendinghood, it's almost like you're just used to putting yourself last.
Absolutely.
And then you don't even make the switch of like, no, but I can afford to go on vacation. Like, I can afford to invest in my nails, which for me, I'm way overdone. I'm overdue, so don't pay attention to that. But try to incorporate a mindset shift and like taking care of yourself again. What do you think about that?
I think that's such a great example. Yeah, I think the survival mode of like, I don't ever have enough time, or I can't do anything fun, or I don't have control over things, that has been such a huge change, like as an attending. And I think even a little in residency, you could put it to practice, because you're no longer like a student. But yeah, I think small things like doing your nails, or like, you know, they say like, don't buy a dress like the day that you need it for an event. Like, have nice things that you like all the time, because when you're under pressure, you're getting like a shit dress, you know, and you don't want that. So I think, the same. It's like creating a lifestyle that makes you happy, having things that you do regularly that bring you joy, and not necessarily for a goal, right? Like, not working out because you want to lose weight, but like working out because it makes you feel good, because it's a way for you to like hang out with your friend, you know? So I think, changing that scarcity mindset is
scarcity
so important.
Mindset. Yes, exactly. I always say, just be obsessed with yourself.
Yes.
No one's going to be obsessed with you unless you're obsessed with yourself. And there's so much of this like guilt that we inherit from being in medical training, like, oh, I should be doing more, I should be doing research, I should be productive. So it makes for a great medical trainee and a great doctor, but then it's not great like once you've graduated, once you've sort of like made it, all of these habits, it's like you need to let that go and welcome in new habits and new ways of thinking.
And I think like so many people after residency, and ourselves included, have a hard time of relaxing, you know, and taking it easy. I mean, I don't think I have that problem anymore.
How can I relax but also be productive about relaxing?
Exactly. Guilty. So it's like, just we're not meant to always be productive. And certainly there's a time and a place, and like we're both fortunate in, you know, where we are in our lives. And sometimes you have to grind, and, you know, you have kids and you have bills and all of those things. But
of course,
you know, sometimes it's okay to take it easy and to like treat yourself and to sleep in, or to like go to a nice cafe and just have a coffee or a glass of wine.
Absolutely.
Or, you know, a fancy dinner on your own.
Absolutely. Just for the romance of it, to romanticize your life, as the kids say.
Yes. What is it? Hikey.
What is it? Hikey?
What the kids say.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to drop as many Gen Z terms as we can.
Yes.
Is there any other rule that you'd like to add?
For the dating the hot doctor, I feel like you're the expert on that one.
Oh my God. My secrets will die with me. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I dated quite a number of hot residents and attendings when I was in med school and residency. And I think I just got turned off to doctors like after I graduated.
Interesting. Yeah.
I was like, there's only one self-involved person in this relationship. Like,
Yes.
I think when I was in training, when I was a student and a resident, I like looked up to the older doctors so much that it was like this status thing that I was like, oh my God. And then I think I dated enough of them that I was like, I mean, I dated quite a few just ones that were like, I'm going to say ortho guys that had nothing else going on and like, please don't come for me. But very good looking, just not on like the intellectual side. And they're all like super smart, but I was trying to have other conversations.
The curiosity was lacking.
Yeah, that was lacking. And then one that I dated, anesthesiologist, turned out to be like pretty narcissistic, great guy, but just not, at the time I didn't quite understand like, oh, like I need emotional closeness. I'm not asking for too much. It wasn't until that I got a lot older where I was like, I really feel okay about asking for certain things.
Yes.
Then I was like, okay, maybe I won't keep like the doctor. Not that there's anything wrong, but I think just the ones that I dated, I was like, okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I've had my share.
I feel like all of your tips apply to dating anybody.
In general.
They're all just great.
Yeah. I think so. I think so too. The discernment one and
discernment's everything.
It's literally everything in life.
Don't be desperado.
Don't be Debbie Desperado. And just because you have like an affinity towards productivity and proving yourself on an application, like you don't need to do that with other people. Like you bring a ton of value. I think that's something that I really transitioned to also because I always wanted to say yes to everything. As a med student, as a resident, I wanted to say yes to every opportunity. And if someone wanted me to like do something or appear on something and then in primary care, you basically are just like, no boundaries. You're like, anything the patient wants, I'm going to give them. I can never say no. And like, it breeds this really emotionally unhealthy, like, mindset, especially for a woman.
Yeah.
Like, I feel I'm already prioritizing the needs of others before myself. So when you're already in that environment where you're like, oh no, but you have to do everything the patient wants and says and feels, and like, there's no boundaries. So
yeah, practicing boundaries in all aspects of your life is healthy so that you can have room for other aspects of your life, right? You're giving it all in your job. You don't have any room for relationships or for yourself.
Yeah, I know. I love what Gabrielle Union says, which is, they were like, how do you look so young? She's like, water and boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. Boundaries.
Yes. That's what women need. That's what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to do my tips on getting over a breakup in training.
I think a lot of people out there need this. So tell us your tips.
Yeah. So I didn't actually get over a breakup in training, but I did after.
You got over it and then, so you have a lot of experience.
Yes. So I think these apply to any breakup, obviously.
Okay.
So number one would be love yourself. Especially if you're coming out of a bad relationship, if you're putting up with like a toxic situation, you are not loving yourself enough. You are not prioritizing yourself. So, getting a therapist or journaling, chatting with the close people in your life and just doing some reflection on, why wasn't I prioritizing myself? What insecurities do I have? Or why do I feel like I deserved whatever situation I was in?
Ooh.
Having that like honest conversation, with yourself, and then doing things that practice love. So like creating boundaries, making time for yourself, doing fun things, all of those to just like prioritize that number one relationship, which is the one you have with you.
But what if someone has no time to do, like, they're like, oh, what would help is if I went shopping and I took a trip with my friends, and they're like, I literally get 4 days off a month.
Yeah.
Like, what would you say to that person?
You don't need like time to love yourself, right? That's like an internal dialogue almost. So like paying attention to how you're thinking and talking about yourself is like number one. Yeah. So always kind of putting yourself down, you know, taking a pause and changing that, journaling, you know, reflecting. That's something you literally don't need much time for. You can do
Very
that in the
true.
shower. But I think, you know, when you're super stressed and you don't have time, then maybe that's what falls by the
Mm,
wayside. But being intentional about it.
great point.
Yeah, not always spoiling yourself, but that works. And then I would say number 2 is leaning into other relationships. So most
Ooh,
people, especially out of a breakup, they might have prioritized that romantic relationship, but most of us have really other great relationships in our lives, friendship, family, colleagues. And so kind of, you know, the people that are bringing you joy, kind of leaning into them and
absolutely.
trying to also identify like, what is it that they love about me, and what side of myself am I bringing? And then kind of like falling in love with yourself a little bit through that. Like, wow, I
Mm,
am a great friend. I am a great sister. And I have a lot of fun with this person. There's very low stress involved, you know? So just kind of leaning into those other positive
mm,
relationships.
I love that.
It's not just about romantic love.
Exactly. You are the creator. You are the
Mm-hmm.
essence of that. Whatever you loved about that relationship, it came from you.
Yes.
Like you generated that love.
That comes from number one. When you love yourself, you realize that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I had a friend who told me, like, she was like, you were the reason why you loved that person so much. Like, that is a you thing. And that was like, oh, mind blowing.
I've heard that, but I was always like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah. But literally now
Yeah.
I'm like, I see that in my life. But for some
Mm-hmm.
reason, you couldn't tell me that back in the
Exactly.
day, which I feel so sad and now grace for my younger self.
Yeah.
But if you're listening and you're in that situation, I promise you, you will discover that all of that came from you.
Yeah. Having good people in your life is so important. Yeah.
What if someone doesn't have positive, like, what if they're maybe they aligned with that person
Mm-hmm.
because they have some negativity, like coming from their
Yeah.
parents or
Mm-hmm.
their best friend? Like, do you recommend doing like a purge of their
Absolutely.
of
I
like
mean,
look at your inner
I'm an
circle and
Aquarius,
what's making you
so
sad?
yeah, I will cut people out very easily. I do not look back.
Be like AT&T and have no problem cutting people off.
No problem cutting people off. Yeah, you should definitely do a purge. If you are surrounded by purely negative people, purge those people and then reflect on if you have some toxic traits that have kept you in those
Mm-hmm.
relationships, and do the work, you know,
Mm-hmm.
with a therapist or however you need to do that. And then start looking for new relationships. Get a hobby, you know, go out. You meet someone who you're like, wow, this is a really nice person, and I would love to have more people like them in my life. Then spend time with them and meet their friends. And yeah, I feel like most people are open if you're bringing good energy.
I love that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And then what would be number 3? Oh, I kind of alluded to this earlier. Listen to podcasts, read books, get
Oh,
dating advice. I think there's so many great dating podcasts for every style of dating. You know, if you're really intentional, if you're trying to just like hook up, like there is everything out there. So you can listen, learn, and really try to like reflect on how it applies to you, or how it could prepare you for dating. So I think,
that's so true.
yeah,
Especially people in medicine, we are primed to study.
yes,
So put your studying cap on
yes.
and focus it on the like your higher self, the next
Yes.
you, and we that's something that we're very good at.
Yes, absolutely. And then with that, don't just study, like actually try things. So really, you know, I think especially getting out of a breakup and being a physician, you're so focused on this career, but there's so many other aspects about you that are fun or that you haven't fully developed because you've been so focused. So
Oh, that is such a
yeah,
good point.
leaning into hobbies, trying new
Mm-hmm.
things, doing things that make you uncomfortable. For me, being on this podcast, very
You're killing it, girl.
scary.
You're killing
Very
it.
scary. My nail journey, you know, I'm obsessed with doing my nails and other people's nails. Like that is something that I thought, oh my god, that's like not really important. Like I don't know that I could really lean into that hobby.
Mm.
And then a co-resident of mine who's really into hobbies, brings them so much joy, was like, do this. Like this is something that you might
There's something
really
here.
like. Yeah, and it brings me so much joy. So really
Mm.
putting yourself out there, figuring out what you like, taking that dance class you always wanted to take, you know, becoming a runner, I don't know, learning how to cook,
Totally.
all of those things.
I feel that beauty saved my life.
Yes.
Like I get so much crap online sometimes
Mm-hmm.
for posting about going into aesthetics
Mm-hmm.
because the medical community is like, this is not medicine, you're
Mm-hmm.
selling out. And I'm like, literally, when I think about beauty, aesthetics,
Mm-hmm.
skincare, all of that, it's romance. It's like falling in love with yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
creating beauty only for the end because it makes you happy,
Yeah.
not because you are producing or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's like the perfect antidote for me to
Yeah.
my technical analytical brain
Yes.
is like putting a cute outfit together, making a beautiful recipe. Like
Mm-hmm.
I find more romance in that now than I do necessarily with another human being.
Yeah, in
And
relationships.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm talking about when you are the creator of love. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can use so many forms of expression
Mm-hmm.
to put that out. That is like your God-given nature to be able
Yes.
to like do that.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone's journey is their own journey. So it's like really finding what you love to do. I'm still searching for how I can manipulate my career into something that brings me so much joy, you know. So I am inspired by your path for sure.
Thank you. So you find that the ways that you're sort of expressing those other parts of you is very separate from your medical
Absolutely.
job at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally, totally separate. And then the last one, which you kind of said, was just give yourself grace. Like everyone takes time, you know, in different ways. Some people get over a breakup right away. Some people, you know, get right into another relationship. So just giving yourself grace and letting yourself do what you need to do. So many people were like, you need to get on the apps, you need to get on the apps. And I'm definitely glad that I waited, because I think had I started dating after a breakup too soon, I would have gone in with a lot of insecurity. I would have had a lack of discernment. I would have been focused on, does this person like me versus do I like them?
Mm-hmm.
So I think really giving yourself time, only you know what you need. And all of that requires like introspection and reflection.
So when should I start dating again? How am I going to know?
Yesterday. Just kidding. Well, everyone's different, right? So I feel like once you feel ready, once you get that inkling, or let's say you've done the work and you're like, I feel like a broken record. I'm talking about this breakup, or I'm kind of hitting the same things. I think you know intuitively when that is. Like when I was in college, I was over a breakup in a day, moving on to the next.
You were like,
I
when's
was
the next
fine.
party?
Yes.
Gonna go to that.
Yes. But I think as you get older, everybody needs to take time in their own ways. And it depends on how that relationship ended and, what it meant to you, what you're needing to grieve. Sometimes you
That's a
grieve
good point.
in the relationship. So you're kind of over it by the end.
That's a good point. Like if it was really traumatic, if it was a really traumatic breakup, that's one thing versus like we were growing apart for a long time. It was a good ending.
Yes.
I feel ready. Yeah, everyone's going to be really different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for those tips.
Thank
I know
you.
that there's probably a lot of people in really tough situations, either, I don't know, deployed or in the middle of like a deadline, and they
Yeah.
don't really want to think about my relationship isn't working right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have this conversation because I can't emotionally deal with it right now.
Oh, yeah. In medicine, I feel like that was constant. Like, I'm prioritizing my career. I cannot deal with this.
Right.
And I think that's fine. That's part of giving yourself grace. But at some point, you have to deal with it.
I was going to say, please have the conversation
Have
at
the
some
conversation.
point, because we've all seen those couples where you're just like, or your friends are telling you, I'm not happy, but
Yes.
I don't want to be alone, or it's fine, it'll work out. And you're like, but you deserve like a full love.
Yeah, and if you follow these like breakup tips, like
You'll be fine.
You'll feel so happy in the end, because you're like, wait, I'm the best relationship I have.
Is this your medical advice? Can I get a prescription?
This is my medical advice. Love
Okay.
yourself. People will be attracted to the love you have for you.
Yes, you heard it here first. So I just want to share this story about traveling, because I feel like I got hit on by younger guys, which is cool because I'm like, mama still got it.
That's right, she does.
But would I date someone a lot younger than me? I don't know. I don't really want to be teaching someone like about life.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I feel like there's exceptions to every rule. Never say never. There's always that like 27-year-old who might be super advanced and
meeting all his
ready
milestones.
To settle down. Yeah, I have no idea. So I would say never say never. But yeah, I think a huge age difference could be difficult. That being said, I think it is fun to
Wait,
date a little bit younger.
There was a story that you were going to share.
This is a trauma.
You know, that makes a really good podcasting. Please share.
So I would say that I'm open to dating younger, but I did have quite a scarring experience in college. I remember going to a party. It was like one of those color parties where you wear red, yellow, green, like green if you're single.
Oh, I thought you were meaning the ones where you throw.
No. This is much lamer.
Okay.
Red if it's stop, you're in a relationship, and then yellow, I don't remember what yellow means.
Such a Berkeley thing. You guys had like all the fun parties.
It was a real dorky co-op party. And I met some guy there who I just thought was so cute. Like, oh my God, I haven't seen him around. Doesn't look familiar.
Does he even go here?
We had a little makeout sesh. This is like the 2000s, so he added me on MySpace, Very different.
Okay.
And as I am perusing his MySpace, I come to find out this gentleman is still in high school. He was like 17 and a half.
But
I was like 21. I mean,
my
I don't know.
gosh.
I probably looked 17 and a half at that time as well.
Obviously.
So yeah, that scarred me for dating younger men. But at this point, that wouldn't happen. So
you wouldn't date 18 again?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There'd be 2 decades.
Dipping
age
too
difference.
low in the age pool.
What about you? What's the youngest you would date?
I don't know. As long as your credit score is good, maybe you own a home. You're like, if you have a life plan, I mean, you're doing better than most guys in their mid-30s. So
agreed.
Bring it.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it.
There's some 25-year-olds in the Midwest who probably has all of that already checked off.
All I need to do is leave California.
Yeah. Because, it's different here.
Yeah. Maybe we should just move to the Bible Belt. The doctors out there that
make a lot.
They make a lot of money. Their houses are like, I mean, what I thought being a doctor would be. That's what it is out there.
But we'd be so far from the beach.
I don't really go to the beach that often.
I know, but I want to see it.
I like on Issa Rae on Insecure, where they're like, they don't go to the beach. Like, they live in LA and they don't go to the beach.
Nobody goes
I think
to
that
the
was
beach,
like an episode.
I do go to the beach though.
Yeah.
Like twice a year.
Okay, so maybe you won't be a good fit for Oklahoma, but
no, but
I
you
will
could
be
do
there.
it. I'll visit you in your huge house.
Yeah, I'll just like
and your young husband.
Ocean. My 25-year-old who's like already like wants a wife. I'm not below that. I'm not below that.
You're not above dating
I'm not
younger?
Above that. Yeah.
Absolutely not. Men have done it forever. Women can do it too, as long as it's, there aren't strange power dynamics. I think that like age is but a number.
I think as long as there's something that makes you respect him, like, I don't care how old you are. I don't care, whatever your profession is. There just has to be an element of like, I respect you. I look up to you for this. Yeah. So
you fit each other.
Yeah. Accepting applications.
Yeah.
Send them in.
27 and above.
27 and above. Okay, so she does have a floor. Anyone 27.
Yeah.
What about older?
I don't have like a cutoff, but I will say I definitely feel 27 inside. So I've gone out on dates with guys in their like late 40s and they feel much older to me.
Like it makes you feel older?
No, they feel old to me. Like, and it's not a looks or anything. It's just like an interest and an energy. So again, never say never, but I definitely feel younger than 37. So I think dating somebody who, doesn't get the jokes or like doesn't know what's going on or like doesn't want to go out and like have a good time.
Yeah.
I think for where I am right now in my life, I think it's
That's
more
true.
likely to go younger.
Right. Not so young that I don't understand the TikTok trends that they're talking about.
Yeah.
But not too old where they're not going to understand like my Euphoria references.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a balance. Yeah.
It's a balance. Or, you don't want somebody who's like rolling their eyes at the things that you're interested in.
Oh,
I want them to be, they could find it amusing.
Yes. I think a sense of vitality. Because have you ever met someone who was like 25, but they have like an old energy?
Yes.
And I don't mean old like discriminating against older people. I'm literally saying like they don't want to do
stale.
anything. They haven't like updated their beliefs or open-minded, having conversations, a sense of adventure. Like I think that is probably more important than maybe the age.
Just reaffirming what we already know. Age is but a number.
Age is but a number.
Yeah.
Yes. Ideally, you would want your frontal lobe to be matured.
Oh, absolutely.
There are physiologic differences.
That's a for sure no.
Yeah. But again, there are plenty of men, at least in my experience, in their mid to late 30s that, do not demonstrate the high executive functioning skills of a frontal lobe being developed. So
agreed.
It can your perfect mate can come from anywhere.
I agree. Stay open.
Stay open.
Dating tips.
What do you guys say
about dating a guy who already has kids, divorced?
I don't want that on air for me because they're both no.
But I think that's a boundary that you.
Checks off all the boxes, but it's just that one quality where he already has a kid.
I wouldn't even know if he checked off the boxes because if he has a kid, I'm like not really exploring the boxes. That's like a hard boundary for me right now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just for kids, not the marriage part.
Right, yeah. I like a little emotional baggage. Like, I like someone who's lived life and who can speak on it in, like, a very mature, self-reflective way. Like, my whole thing right now is, like, are you doing the work?
Yeah.
Because there's men out there that I've dated without kids, never been married, and it's because they're, like, non-committal. They're avoiding it. And if someone's divorced but they have like such a good understanding of like this is what I want to do differently, that to me is like so sexy.
Yeah.
So maybe not Nick Cannon level
of having 10 children,
of having children, but also daddy energy. Yes, please. Like if you have 2 kids and you love being a dad but you still understand that you want to value a relationship and you still want to have me as you want to have more kids, you want to grow your family. Yes.
You're into it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's more of like a mindset, self-reflection, emotional state of where they're at, regardless of like what they've maybe have done before.
Have you dated anybody with kids?
I haven't, so I feel like I can't.
I was thinking like, maybe I haven't dated enough, and that's why I'm not open to it yet.
I just think about, my brother who has a kid and he's single, and I just see the way that he loves being a dad. Yeah. And if I saw that in someone, because I'm at that stage where I really want to be a mom, I'm like, maybe a dude already being there would be great.
I mean, I think that is actually really true. I think they'd be probably more open to having kids and settling down. They're already doing all the responsible things.
Right. Yeah. Like, hopefully they're not the ones partying.
No.
Or, having all this, like, non-committal, I don't want to change my life for anyone. Like, I think what's really nice about people that have kids is like they already know that it's not all about them. Yeah. And dating, I feel like you encounter a lot of men that way who they've always put themselves first. They don't even like comprehend that it's not all about them all the time. So when someone is like a good parent, I feel like they've already been through that process of damn, I need to think about how my actions affect other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, case by case basis.
Case by case basis. Everyone has their deal breakers, and sometimes those deal breakers change.
Yes, and you are entitled to any deal breaker,
Yes.
Well, thank you, Maxine, for coming on, and we can't wait to implement these rules, and I'll let you know when I'm ready to jump back into the dating pool.
I cannot wait. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So I know that you're not really like, oh, follow me on social. Like, you are a doctor living in the world doing the amazing things that doctors do in healing people and taking care of patients. So do you want people to follow you, or do you just want to give your advice and
I will give my advice, and you can
see
me sneak up on your Instagram when we're hanging out.
This is the opposite of a promotional podcast.
We are, yes.
We are keeping it in the professional setting, and hopefully people get a lot of good use out of it, and leave it at that.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Love you.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.